Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Holmes and this is my international presentation comparing the higher education systems of the United States and the Netherlands. I will be comparing several aspects of each country's higher education system, including access, pathways to higher education, funding, structure, leadership, student affairs, as well as their internationalization strategies. I will also cover examples of these aspects as they relate to two specific Dutch universities. In terms of access, Dutch students are placed into different tracks for secondary school based on their early education years, which ultimately impacts their access to higher education later on. I'll go into more detail on this in the next section. However, overall participation is high. Of typical college-age students in the Netherlands, aged 20 to 24 years, 42.7% are enrolled in higher education institutions. This is much higher than in the US, which stands at about 39%. Access to higher education in the Netherlands is quite different compared to that in the US. Higher education institutions in the Netherlands are divided between research universities and universities of applied sciences. Research universities are similar to their counterparts in the US with a focus on academic programs and conducting research. Dutch universities of applied sciences would be more comparable to technical universities in the US as they are more focused on practical education for professions. As I mentioned in the last slide, the pathway to higher education in the Netherlands is unique when compared to the US system. Dutch students are placed into one of three tracks for secondary school based on their primary school performance. HAVO, now these are all Dutch acronyms that I can't quite pronounce, so we're going to stick with the acronyms, but HAVO prepares students for higher professional education, like in the universities of applied sciences. BWO prepares students for university-level studies at research universities. MBO is secondary vocational education and training that prepares students for specific jobs and careers. This is more vocational training than HAVO or VWO, which are more academic. The US has some similar programs such as STEM magnet high schools or performing arts schools. In both systems, all students receive the same general education with specialization in their programs later on. Much of the higher education system in the Netherlands is state funded. There are 34 Dutch public universities and only 4 private. There is more institutional variety in the US with public, private, as well as for-profit higher education institutions. Dutch public universities generally offer low tuition rates for EU students compared to the ever-increasing tuition rates that we see in the US, even at public institutions. One similarity here is that in-state students attending public state universities in the US are often offered lower tuition rates than out-of-state students. In recent years, there has been a shift from grants for higher education attendance in the Netherlands to more student loans. However, there are several loan forgiveness programs that exist to help mediate the cost. The structure of the Dutch higher education system is centralized through the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Science. This ministry of the Dutch government provides national guidelines in which universities should be operated. In 1993, the WHW Act, another acronym from Dutch, was passed, which increased institutional autonomy and decreased some government control, although the higher education system is still more centralized than when compared to the US system. US institutions are regulated more at the state level, while the federal government plays a role in certain policies such as Title IX and financial aid when students apply for FAFSA. University leadership of Dutch universities is generally decentralized and emphasizes autonomy of individual faculty. University leadership is overseen by the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Science, which determines larger educational policies of the country. At an institutional level, Dutch universities have their own governing bodies similar to the boards that exist in US institutions. Also similar to the US system of university leadership, Dutch universities are headed by a president or a rector. Compared to the US system, student affairs in the Netherlands is more decentralized and has less of a formal structure. Student affairs staff are generally more focused on providing academic support and student welfare services. On the other hand, in the US, student affairs emphasizes student involvement, extracurricular activities, and school pride associated with those things. Student clubs at Dutch universities are often independent of the university or may be run through the student union rather than a student affairs office. Campus life in the US is much more residential, which makes for a more robust and active campus life than in the Netherlands, which is more commuter-based. The number of international students in the Netherlands has doubled in the last 10 years to around 123,000. This accounts for about 15% of total enrollment in higher education, which is significantly higher than for the US. Although there are over 1 million international students enrolled in the US higher education system, this only accounts for less than 5% of total enrollment. In both countries, more international students are enrolled in graduate programs than in undergraduate. Because of the ease of travel, many international students in the Netherlands come from other countries in the European Union, particularly Germany. The UK and China are also countries sending large numbers of international students to the Netherlands. Similarly, the US also receives a large number of Chinese students, as well as those from other Asian countries, including India and South Korea. Many higher education programs in the Netherlands are taught in English, which attracts a lot of international students who are eager to earn a degree in English to elevate themselves in the globalized job market. The student support services provided by higher education staff in both countries are similar in that they provide orientation, some visa support, housing assistance, whether on campus or off campus, language programs, cultural and social events, and more to support international students. The main difference is that in the US, these services are usually housed under student affairs, while in the Netherlands, they are more likely to be found in the international office. And here you can see a nice graph displaying the recent exponential growth in international students in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, as in with many other European Union countries, much of the study abroad participation is through the Erasmus exchange program. The Erasmus program promotes exchange across Europe as well as with other countries through the Erasmus Plus portion of the program. Erasmus is a well-established and organized program that began in the 1980s. A large portion of student mobility in the Netherlands is integrated into academic programs, meaning that students might be required to spend a semester or a year on an international exchange as part of their degree program. Compulsory study abroad is much less common in the US as part of the degree. In the US, many students participate in shorter-term study abroad programs over the summer, which are often led by their university faculty members. Similar to Dutch students studying across Europe through the Erasmus program, American students also enjoy studying abroad in other Western European countries. Too far. Now on to the two campus profiles. The first one is Maastricht University. Maastricht is a public research university in the Netherlands, which was founded in 1976. The total enrollment of Maastricht is about 23,000 students, with over half of those being international students, 59% of total enrollment. That's the second highest percentage of international students among all Dutch universities. Maastricht's English taught programs attract students from other EU countries as well as from around the world. Because it's a public university, most of Maastricht's funding comes from the Dutch government. The curriculum at Maastricht is very interdisciplinary. They have a unique problem-based learning approach that fosters collaboration among their students from different programs. Maastricht is also well known for their research across various disciplines. The Student Services Center, related to student affairs, assists students with academic issues and also with student life. For example, they provide career services as well as psychological counseling. The Student Services Center also provides it supports several student organizations that organize extracurricular activities. Student housing is scarce in the city of Maastricht, so the SSC also provides guidance to secure housing. With such a large population of international students, Maastricht provides extensive services for them. They have an international help desk, an orientation day, as well as a buddy program and a visa office. My second campus profile is the Free University of Amsterdam, also called VU Amsterdam. I'm not sure where my little picture went right here, but I'll upload the slide so y'all can see it. VU Amsterdam was founded in 1880, originally as a private university, but has since shifted to operating on government funding since 1970. This means that the Dutch government system determines tuition, fees, and other regulations. The English translation of the name VU Amsterdam means free university, but this does not imply free tuition. Students still pay tuition to attend VU Amsterdam. It's more related to the founding idea of the university of independence from the church and state. VU Amsterdam has a vibrant student life with academic associations, like cultural events, athletics, and also VU Amsterdam is known for being a top research university in areas of sustainability and public health. It's located in Amsterdam's business district, which provides strong industry connections for students to do internships. They also have good services for international students in their international office with international student drop-in hours, as well as onboarding and orientation. And that is all for my presentation. And here are my list of references. Thanks for listening, everyone.